happy Thursday. How's it going today? Hope you guys are having a great day out there. This is a quick show we do called The Closing Beat. We're financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth, and we hope you keep us in mind. Actually, go to the website. You can check out all the great things that we have for customers. We manage long-term retirement accounts, Roth IRAs, IRA rollovers, things like that. And we build our own portfolios. So we're not like every other advisor that just goes and buys some mutual fund that costs you money and then you really are relying on the fund manager. We are the fund managers. Happens to be our background there. So you can check out all of our portfolios. I believe we're one of the only advisors that post the performance on the website as well. So you can check out the different funds that we have there. We also do classes for customers. If you happen to be a customer tonight, really special one. This is going to be a lot of fun. We've had a lot of questions about options, like what in the world are they? How do they work? Can we start like a series? Tonight is options part 1. We're going to do it live for you guys. I'll ask you to bring 3 things tonight: a pen, a piece of paper. Yep, we're going old school. I'm going to show you real quickly. I'll draw something out for you. I'll show you how to do it so you'll never question how options work again. The world's simplest explanation. You know how I like to do it. Pen, piece of paper, and a glass of wine. Come hang out with us. We'll make it a short class, make it a lot of fun, and this will be part 1 of the series. We do classes every single week for our customers. They're also available live in the dojo, which I'll show in a little while. All of our previous classes where we get more into detail. I'm allowed to say more things, and it's kind of a hangout instead of, you know, the typical watch what you say on YouTube here. So I hope you'll check us out. We'll be live at 8 o'clock. All you got to do is log into the dojo and bam, 8 o'clock, my pretty little face will show up and we'll be ready to roll. I've had a cup of coffee late in the day, so you know it's going to be a good one. All right, we're also playing a game. It's called Guess the Dow. Feel free to go to jazzwealth.com, guess the Dow. Anybody can play. You just put in your name, where you think the Dow is going to be, and give us an email. We'll let you know if you won. We do not use your email. Sell it, rent it, give it to anybody else. All we do is notify you if you won. If not, we won't even bother you. You'll never get an email from us if you still want to play. And if you win, we'll give you $100. Simple as that, $100 credit. There's a really sneaky reason we do it, and it's not for marketing, and nobody's really guessed it yet. I've told a few customers why we do this, but everybody says, why? It doesn't seem like any kind of promotion. There's one sneaky reason, and it's paid off huge for us. Not in the terms of like dollars, but for what we were trying to accomplish. So if anybody can guess it, I'll give you $100, and you're not a customer. One day I'll tell you guys, if I haven't already. Maybe I told you already. Anyways, let's talk about the stock market today. Another blast-off day for the stock market. You got the S&P higher by, what's going on here? Oh, tell me no. Tell me no. Is that what's going to happen? Will it transfer over? Oh, man. There we go. I don't know why you can't see me there, but that is interesting. But hopefully you can catch what's going on there. S&P 500, let's just go back. That's really weird. I'm sorry. The S&P 500 added 8 on the day, 183 on the Dow, and NASDAQ 23 points on the day. Overnight, China came out with some news that the U.S. was interested in rolling back tariffs as we make success on these different phases of the trade news. And everybody was like, okay, cool. You know, trade stuff's going well. Everything seems to be looking good there. So everybody was happy with that, and that got the markets moving up to highs. And, oh, man, it's not going to show the chart. How can I get the chart in there? Why does it do that? Anybody know why it does that? I'm going to try to play with this for a second. Let me just go over here. Come on, man. I'm sorry. It's not going to show it. Anyways, so you did notice late in the day, people finally taking a little bit of profit there. So obviously that's good for those of you that want the markets to pull back. I know some of you are waiting for the markets to pull back. And late in the day, you saw people just taking some profits. A little overbought in the short term. That's all it is. Just a little bit overbought. Not a reason to panic or anything. We've had a nice little extended run, and the markets just seemed like late in the day they wanted to take a bit of a break. And, you know, that's cool. So I don't think anybody really seems to mind on that one. The yield curve, by the way, have you seen the yield curve? Now the steepest that it's been all year on this yield curve. So what do you think about that, huh? We did a class. It's in the dojo there. I guess I can't show it today. It's called Inverted Yield Curve and Economic Recessions. If you want to check it out, that is our class on what to expect. And the inverted yield curve is not what you look at. What all the big fund managers look at is completely different. So today, with the yield curve being the steepest that it's been all year, everything we talked about in that class is panning out every single day, like perfectly there. So you know I'm watching. I'm all about it. In the S&P 500, you got 3 out of every 3 for 1 stocks overbought to oversold. So you're getting a little bit of a spread there. It's just a sort of a breadth measure you can look at if you like. All right, sector-wise, you got the semiconductors today higher on the trade news, reversing course from yesterday. It was basically just the one-day wonder on the way back up there. I'm going to have to bounce around here. Go pull up some charts somewhere. I'm sorry. About 0.5% hit new highs as well. Financials never stopped. Financials didn't even pull back. They've just been plowing ahead. However, at the end of the day, you saw a little bit of weakness there. More people wanting to take some profits in the short term. Again, something we've all been expecting, right? It's just gone a few more days than most people would have expected. Yeah, the price of oil still struggling with that 200-day moving average right smack at it. Look at the chart, just right smack there. Can't seem to compete with the 200-day. It was above it again today, but couldn't finish above the 200-day. That becomes more of a bearish sort of setup for traders because they see that ceiling and the stock is banging its head against the ceiling, or sorry, oil, banging its head against the ceiling, just can't get anything done. People eventually get frustrated in that, and the bulls will say, all right, I'm out for now. I'll just wait. If I have to jump on the train later, that's fine. But oil still not able to break above the 200-day moving average. Transports back to highs. And you go, well, okay, what does that mean, right? If you're of a certain age, then you know that transports used to sort of be the measure of the markets. How do you say it? So it used to be as the transports went, so went the markets. Because think about it. We're out there shipping things back and forth, even around the world. And people would say, okay, that's good. Economic strength, everything's good there. Transports are doing well. Those companies are earning more and everything's great. That used to be what you'd follow. But you notice every day I mention the semiconductors and the bank stocks because now we've sort of transitioned into that. If you think about it, everything that's in those transports probably has a chip inside of it. Probably the trucks and trains and boats and everything, they probably have a chip inside of it. So really semiconductors, tech, and finances, they lead the way. And also they're the most heavily weighted together in the S&P 500. But people still like to look at them. So we got a few stats, or we just got one stat for you here. When transports make a new high after having not made a new high in the last year, which is where we're at, making a new 52-week high, the average 3-month gain is 2.9%. So 3 months out, 2.9% is the average gain in the S&P 500. If you compare that to every other time besides when the transports break out to new 52-week highs after a year, the average gain is 1.9%. And so all that really tells you is when the transports are doing well, there's a little bit of overperformance in the stock market, just a slight bit of overperformance there. And so that's good news. Also, it's like 10% versus 7% if you look out a year. Same thing. Transports keep leading the way a little bit there. It just leads to a touch bit of overperformance in the overall markets. All right, we talked about rates. Just a wild day in the bond market today. And if you were to look at the yield curve, obviously a steepening yield curve there. I'm going to try to show that thing tomorrow. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why this doesn't. It's what happens when you leave me here to mess with all this stuff. I clicked on something. You know what I mean? Like, I know what I know. I don't know what's going on with this stuff. That's just not my thing. We all have our specialties. Anyways, so given the fact that rates were higher today, really sharply higher, yield curve nice and steep between the 10s and 2s, you have REITs falling again, another 1% lower on the day. Utilities, interest rate sensitive areas lower again, really starting to roll over there in the short term. Also, it's going to start affecting the home builders, right? So yeah, if you look at the XHB down 1% on the day, still very strong. I mean, it's not nearly as beat down as the utilities and the REITs, but home builders are going to start getting affected by this as well if these rates keep moving higher as fast as they're doing it. This isn't just like a calm little move higher in rates. This is a pretty steep move in rates. So it's going to hurt those home builders. They're starting to feel it there as well. If you look around to some of the more defensive areas or safe haven trades, as they call it, you got gold down, just beaten down today, lost over 1%. Gold miners lost about 3%. Silver is going to be selling off as well, about 3% lower on that one. Anything related to that, right? It's just people saying, okay, no need to be over here. I'll go over here and take some risk. And that's really what you're feeling in the overall markets there. So very interesting. If you look at the sectors, every day we start with the stock market. I give you that. And then we move on to the sectors, and then we move on to stocks. Because when you do that, and you kind of analyze the market that way, very quickly things start standing out. Or if anything, like now, you could start to see it's like Jell-O on a plate, right? So there's just not everything is moving together. You've got still a lot of disconnection in the market, and I think it's okay for the meantime, right? All in all, slightly higher. All right, Roku, we talked about this yesterday. It did gap down as it was doing after hours yesterday. Lost 16% on the day. They they did lose 22 cents, was it, right? I mentioned that yesterday, 22 cents somewhere. That was less than expected overall. However, it costs them more to get a customer. So we went through all the numbers yesterday. They're making $22.58 per average is their revenue per customer. 2106 was expected. They added more subscribers, or active users is what they call them. 32.3 million active users versus 30.5 last quarter. So that's a great bump up there in just one quarter. The problem is they're spending more to get those customers. And yeah, I get that they have the advertising plug-in. They bought another advertising company, but it's getting competitive out there. So it's costing them more to grab more customers. And now with Comcast coming along, people were more likely, or obviously people just decided, I'm going to step away for a second. Let's let this settle down. The stock lost 16% on the day. I know some of you like this Baidu. Strong volume today, great move higher, about 13% higher on the day. They beat on earnings, stronger revenue. They guided as expected, so no shocker there, which is good. And they're actually seeing more signups for their, it's like a Netflix YouTube mix kind of thing. It's called iQIYI. I think that's how you say it. And you can look it up. You can actually go to the site. I think it's kind of an interesting site. There are so many videos on that site. But that's kind of their Netflix / YouTube over there. And they're seeing tons of signups over there. So that was one of the bright spots in their earnings. Not bad. So up 13% on the day. Party City, that's unfortunate for them. They've had a lot of issues there with the helium shortage and everything. But Party City basically... yeah, that's right. It's down 67% from $6 down to $2, all in one day. That's unfortunate there. The CEO basically said it was a disappointing quarter. He said disappointing quarter. I didn't say that. He said there were many tailwinds that they had expected that just didn't pan out, and they must have been expecting a lot. I haven't studied this one recently, but that's unfortunate. Down to $2. Let's talk about something good. QCOM up 6% on the day. They reported earnings, beat on earnings by 7 cents. Revenue's better than expected. 5G. This is where all the excitement was 5G here. A lot of their results were helped by, they have a deal with Apple now. So just all this 5G expectations. This thing better live up to what we all hope and are told is what's going to happen, because boy, there's a lot of people betting a lot that this is going to be a home run for not only Apple and QCOM, but others. So stock was higher by 6% today, making new 52-week highs. Square, not a decent day, added 5% on the day, moving out of sort of a sloppy, choppy range there. They reported earnings as well. They beat by 5 cents. They did lower their guidance overall, but they're seeing a lot of growth in the subscription and services area. So I know some of you have Square, so good for you guys on that one. It's starting to come back to life, I hope, for you. After hours here, that just came up. What's going on? The Gap CEO is stepping down, and they lowered all kinds of stuff there. Guidance expectations. That stock's going to be trading around $16.50, $16.75. So you look for a gap down on Gap tomorrow there. So that's Gap. 65.7% of the S&P is above the 50-day moving average. We're basically holding tight between 65 and 68%. That's good news. And I mean, we haven't had the most volatile of days up at highs here, so not a lot's changed this week so far. You got 53 new 52-week highs. That's a good number. Apple was on the list again. There were over a third of those names were financials. You want to look at things like Citigroup, Ameriprise, Western Union again on the list. My goodness, just a runaway train there with Western Union, 1.4%. PNC Bank, Capital One was in the mix there. JP Morgan again, so a lot of financials in that mix if you're looking. You also had UPS hit new 52-week highs. It's sort of been sloppy there, and it finally gave us a little bit more of a breakout that people could grip onto or bite onto, if you say it that way. Walmart hit new 52-week highs as well, slow and steady, just plugging along there. That's a pretty steady stock lately. And Google and Alphabet hit new highs as well. Alphabet had a 1.25% day today. Same thing, it got up there, was exciting, and then sort of the excitement faded throughout the day. You had 5 new lows. Fang and Oxy were on the list again. They were from yesterday. Expedia, which is EXPE if you're looking, horrible day for them, down 27%. And TripAdvisor, sticking in the same category, 22% as well. I'm going to do this without you guys. You ready? So you know the stats play FTNT. So I've got the line on there. We've got 3 days left to go. We'll see if it's going to fall down to that. It's supposed to lose, we got today's day 2. Lose 1.53%. 51% of the time. Not the greatest, but we'll see what happens there. The other one I want to look at, and this one this was also recent. We just talked about this just a couple weeks ago. CVS is back on the list, a little extended here, up 1.2% today. We happen to own the stock here, so I'm sort of like, this is weird to say this, but 63.5% of the time from this very point where it's at, being so extended, it falls an average of 1.36%. So what I'm going to do is, I know you can't see it, I'm sorry, I'm going to go find 1.36%. It's about 70, 78, and we'll just draw a line right in there and see what happens. Remember, these stats plays are not very juicy right now. They're just not very juicy because the volatility is low. Volatility is flirting with new lows again, and because of that, you have some stocks that have run away a little bit, but nothing extreme and no multi-day extreme drops. I certainly just mentioned a bunch of them that were down quite a bit, but not very exciting. So if you're just watching this for the first time, I don't like to point these out, these little 1% moves and things, but that's just the environment we're in. So it's just kind of fun to track. I'm not making any suggestions to buy, sell, or short. Just like to point it out. All right, Disney reported earnings after the bell here and did well, right? So we talked about the stats last year. It is down only 39% of the time, the day following earnings, so that would be tomorrow. And it looks like that stat's going to play out because it's trading around 140. Decent move there for Disney, trading up at the prior resistance there around 140. They beat on earnings, beat on revenue. Check this out. Their studio income revenue was up 53%. Parks and resorts up 8% revenue-wise, up 8%. And yeah, I mean, they're busy here, so I kind of understand that. I don't know how the rest of the world's doing, but I just kind of measure that because we're close by. So Disney looking good on earnings, and congratulations, because I know a lot of you had the stock and have been waiting for that thing to come back to life. Looks like tomorrow's going to be a good day, and odds are it's going to be a positive day, given the Q3 stats that we covered yesterday. The last one I'll cover is Booking Holdings. I believe they did well also. I mean, they did well after hours here. Trading up at, where are they at? 1945-ish. So erasing almost all of the intraday move today. Actually erasing, right now, erasing all of the intraday move today from selling off earlier in the day. It lost 8% to start the day, and it's recovered more than half of that, at least as of now. Beat on earnings, missed on revenue there. Guidance, I didn't catch their guidance. Give me just a second here. I believe guidance was okay. Remember, we talked about guidance being the big thing there for them. I can't find it fast enough. Looking here real quick, because I just want to see. I didn't catch this. Revenue in line with estimate. I can't find it. I'm sorry. But anyways, stock higher after hours, so that's a good sign there if you happen to be playing along with Booking Holdings. We've got 3 Fed members speaking tomorrow. Remember, they're out there. They're doing their thing. They want you to start feeling like they're not going to cut rates, and they are accomplishing that mission quite well. They've been out all week with these guys, 2 or 3 a day. You got dividends coming up there with Rockwell Collins. Rockwell Collins is paying out $1.02, ExxonMobil 87 cents, Xilinx 37 cents, Cheesecake Factory 36 cents, and Packer, or we always say PCAR, that's the symbol, PCAR, the transport company, 32 cents they're paying out. We own some of those stocks there, so looking pretty good. And I will take your questions if you happen to have any. Did I cover everything? Costco had some good news out today. Same store numbers came out. Stock almost hit 52-week highs. Yeah, didn't quite get there. Almost, but really strong stock overall there for Costco. I love it. You're planning on learning some skills and going to college next year. You're aiming for a 2-year degree in accounting business management at local tech. You're on fire, man. You like your money. You like learning about dough. I like people like you. I know you commenting being young and kind of getting started. That's awesome. That is really awesome. It's very hard to find people like that. Very hard. Yep. Cool. There you go. So, yeah, I'll see if you guys have any questions. Don't forget, tonight at 8 o'clock, if you are one of our customers, come hang out. Should be an interesting class. A lot of people have been asking for us to do this. This will just be the first part there. What I'll do is like I do every time. I go through what I want to cover, and then I'll stick around as long as everybody has questions, and we can cover anything else you like. And I'm going to get some help with this to make sure we can pop up Well, we're going to do it differently tonight. Yep. I love it. I love it. I love it. What about Elf Beauty? Yeah, gapped higher on earnings, just overextended in the short term. I'm not sure if they said something midday there, but that's kind of common when maybe not by that much, but kind of common when a stock gaps up too much there. Some different analysts there. Analysts didn't jump all over this one today. You got a couple price target raises up to $19, $18, which is basically where it was. You don't have the most bullish of analysts. Everybody's hovering right around that 18 to 19 area, and so there you go. You normally have earnings coming out, people get excited. JP Morgan went to 22 on their price target, but other than that, there's a lot of 18s to 19s, meaning their analyst was at 18 and they just bumped it up to 19, which is a decent raise. But you notice that analysts didn't just jump all over their earnings today and get excited about the future. That could have something to do with the ELF if you're looking. Yeah, there you go. Adjust for inflation as you go. Anytime you're calculating your numbers for the long term, I really don't like how people guess inflation in the long run. Because remember, you're guessing every year. If you've got 20, 30 years till retirement, that's a huge difference if you're off by even a fraction of a percent. So I always tell our customers, you adjust for inflation each year when we know the number, and you could even overestimate a little bit, but then you know, and you got a much tighter number as you go. I love it. Yep. You know I love Tesla. I like Elon Musk. I like his personality, personally. Great day, yeah, 2.75% day to day. If you had to be a betting person, you would assume that move is not going to continue, right? It's had a great run. It's going to slosh around in this area, which unfortunately is potentially a $50 area, but you don't expect to see like a rocket ship happen. That's very rare. Western Union's kind of an interesting one, but that is rare that happens. But good for them. They are doing well in the short term here. Thanks for watching, James. I love it. Watches every day. What's the significance of the time clock? All right, I'll just tell you guys. The clocks on the wall are set to 5 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, if you can see all four of them in the back. They don't move. 5299 is, if you look at an old dial-up phone and you type 5299, that spells jazz. So I thought, what do I need to know the time in Europe or whatever, you know? Let's spell jazz up on this thing. So it's sort of subliminal, and that's what that's what the clocks mean in there. Yeah. There you go. Finally told you there. So the question is about Chesapeake Energy. There are a lot of energy names that are very, very weak. They are not playing along in any bounce here in the markets. We pointed out a few yesterday. Chesapeake Energy, unfortunately, is one of them. What was the other one? I just thought of one. There's a bunch. And if you look at that category, the energy space, there's a huge spread between those that are outperforming, those that are underperforming. What's that tell you about the ones that are underperforming? Do you want to pick the bottom? If it's just one stock that had a rough patch, okay, maybe you take your shot. But there's a huge divergence between those that are performing well and those that are not performing well, which means the only luck you get is if one of those gets acquired or two of those get together and somehow there's a premium paid there. But that's a long shot, man. That is a real long shot there. I'm not smart enough to be able to spot those for you. Money keeps moving into financials. Yep, very consistently, by the way. Trade news or no trade news, money's been moving into financials, which is a good thing. You need that for the stock market to continue. Yep. Oh, yeah. I can't say whether Chesapeake is a buy or whatever. I could just say that, you know, if you had to play the energy space and there is a clear bundle of stocks that are not playing along at all, and then there's a clear bundle of stocks that are performing, wouldn't you kind of want to go over there? Imagine if all of our portfolios there, imagine if I just started picking dumpy stocks to put in our portfolios. And I'm not a stock picker, so I don't do that for our portfolios, but imagine if that was the case. How do you justify that to a customer? I want you to treat it the same way. If you are going to buy a stock, imagine that you have to justify it to me. You almost need to I can't give you the blessing, but you almost need to say, okay, this is a worthwhile investment. Treat it like that. Treat it like you're investing for people, because that'll make you really focus on your rules. Yep. What do you think about the Robinhood fiasco? That's happened a lot. I mean, you got to go way back, but so Robinhood's a newer company. Back in the day, Thinkorswim went through this. There's a company called Lightspeed. I don't know if they're around. They went through the same thing. Scottrade went through the same thing. It was actually a hack that caused that. So it happens. It's not a good thing that in this case they were exploited. So I think they have a case, and Robinhood won't be on the hook for doing that or for allowing that, because they didn't technically allow it. They're going to get in trouble. They're going to pay a fine. Trust me, there's going to be some penalty for that. But there'll be no room for people to sue them, which you can't do anyways. But unfortunately, people took advantage of it there and wanted to be crazy. So I think they're just as on the hook, right? Now, do they get to keep that money? That's a good question. The arbitrators will work that out for them. Yep. Are there other ways to hedge against the dollar? Everyone points to crypto or gold, but what other ways can you hedge against the dollar? What's the goal there? Is it just that you're afraid of the dollar weakening? Is that your deal there? If that's the case, if you have the ability, could you just short the dollar? I mean, are you allowed to do that? I mean, that seems like a easy, quick way to do it. I'm going to guess that you're saying hedge, you're thinking long term, you can't short. So then the answer would be, I don't know why we're hedging against the dollar. What's so specific about your portfolio that you're hedging against the dollar? And if it's in the short term, then why can't you just short the dollar? Cool. I love it. I'm sorry the charts didn't work today. I put a lot into these things, man, and when that thing doesn't pop up, that's sort of a bummer. Hey, anyways, back to work for me. I'm going to get ready for our class tonight on options. Remember, if you're one of our customers, just log into the dojo. It'll pop right up. You can play along with me. We will go over the basics. Bring a pen, bring a piece of paper, and bring a glass of wine if you have one, or whatever your favorite drink is, and we'll go over it. I'm going to make it really simple for you guys because I know it can be intimidating. So we'll go through it, make it real simple, and I'll stick around as long as you guys have questions, and we'll see you later. So enjoy. Thank you for coming and watching us here. If I helped you in some way, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button. We do put a lot of work into these shows, even when they don't go right. So I appreciate the support, any support. And talk to you guys later. We'll be back tomorrow.
Hey, wait! Before you go watch one of our other great videos, have you had a chance to see our new FinTips videos? They focus on one topic at a time, covering investing, personal finance, and anything that can quickly help you with your dough. Best of all, we'll keep it real short, because we know time is money.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.